Good morning and welcome to the 2015 Village of Riverside Memorial Day Remembrance. Thank you for coming. My name is Frank Gressick. I'm Command Sergeant Major in the United States Army, Commander of the American Legion Riverside Post 488. I'd like to take credit for this program that you're going to see, but the fact of the matter is this is the heart and soul of Tom Sisolek. So without further ado, Tom.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you to everyone here today. As our philosophy for this Memorial Day program here in Riverside, we are working towards making this a family event and a program which will honor the 54 Riverside young soldiers who were killed in action during World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, most all of whom were Riverside Brookfield High School graduates, many of whom dropped out of high school to join for World War II. We also will recognize all of Riverside's veterans who have been to Iraq, Afghanistan, and present-day soldiers who are residents of Riverside. President Abraham Lincoln of Illinois stated, "It is up to the living to remember the sacrifices made by the men and women who died defending America's freedom." With that, I would like to invite Pastor Raymond Austin from Riverside United Methodist Church for our invocation.
Our invocation, let us pray. Gracious God, as we gather in this place, stir our hearts with patriotism and thankfulness as we think about our country's treasures and heroes, both living and lying in graves beneath our nation's soil and the soil of lands far away. May we be inspired to be more abundant in our giving as we commemorate their lives of service. They gave the ultimate sacrifice, and we respectfully remember them today. Amen.
We now will invite the Riverside Fire Department Color Guard and all of the scouts for the Color Guard presentation. And our Life Scout, Eric Hartwig, will begin the Pledge of Allegiance.
Prepare to vote. Ready? Vote. Order. Arms. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order. Arms. Up. Fixed. Forward. March. Lift. 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 Lift.
You may be seated. At this time, I would like to invite all of the Riverside police officers, fire department personnel, and EMT personnel to come forward.
They're all up here. We'll have you shake hands with each, and our school children will give them a card.
These are some of the men and women who are Riverside police officers, fire department personnel, EMT personnel. Quite a few of these men and women are also veterans of Iraq, Afghanistan, and as everyone knows, these are the men that you call when you dial 911, and fortunately in Riverside, they're at your house usually in 2 or 3 minutes. And they are the ones that take care of your first immediate needs, usually in any state in America. When the governor calls the National Guard, it takes them no less, at the shortest, usually 8 hours to arrive at an emergency scene. So these men and women are the ones who protect us each day. We'd like to have Village President Ben Sills congratulate them, and we have some cards from our church school children they will receive as well. Everybody received their card? Thank you very much, men and women. You may be seated as well. Next, we would like to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the end of the Civil War, which occurred on April 19th, 1865. And I would like to invite Owen Leander to come forward. Hold on a second. You stay right there. Owen is in the 5th grade at Central School, and he's 11 years old. For the next few minutes, if you could visualize yourself standing in a destroyed cornfield in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, on November 19th, Thursday, 1863, I introduce President Abraham Lincoln.
Thank you all for coming. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives so that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men living and dead who struggled here have consecrated it far above our own poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus so far nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Thank you.
Very fine. That's a big step. Thank you, Owen. At this time, we would like to recognize 5 ladies who are still living in Riverside or related to Riverside, who are the wives of World War II soldiers. Their husbands have since passed away, and I would like to invite Ellen Hamilton, Village Board of Trustees member, to come forward with her presentation.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you for the honor of having me here today. It really is an honor. But I must say, Abraham Lincoln is a hard act to follow. Entering World War II in 1941 after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor drastically changed the United States economy, and the nation immediately demanded more from its men and women. Since women's participation in the war effort was essential for an Allied victory, gender roles were dramatically altered, at least temporarily. Some women joined the new female branches of the military. Many of those who stayed at home went to work in factories and filled other traditionally male jobs while their husbands, fathers, boyfriends, brothers, and sons left to fight. Many women who did not fight or work for pay chose to volunteer their time or energies for the war effort. In fact, if you go to Riverside Library and go downstairs near the children's section, there is a glass case, an exhibit showing a group of women who met almost daily for the duration of our participation in the war. They met either at the Township Hall or at Ascension Church to cut, package, and ship to the front bandages for the soldiers. We don't know who these wonderful women were. They're every woman. But if you know when you go to the library who one of them is, please tell the librarians so that we can keep a better record for the future and thank them. Whatever their role, it is clear, as it shows from this poster that I found from World War II. Women in the war, we can't win without them. Today we are gathered to honor our veterans of all wars who gave their lives in the cause of freedom, not just on foreign soil, but on our own soil as well, in the great American conflict, the Civil War. But I come to speak to you of 5 wives, now widows, of Riverside. Now in their late 80s or 90s, they kept the home fires burning while their husbands or future husbands were fighting for the Allied cause in World War II. I was able to speak to each of these ladies or their daughters, so let me tell you what I can about them. Colleen Rooney Hay is the widow of Gordon Hay, a member of the U.S. Army Air Corps. Gordon flew a B-17 bomber in 30 missions over Germany. Most bomber pilots fly no more than 10 or 11 missions before being shot down. Gordon flew 30. Mrs. Hay recalled the difficulty in exchanging letters with Gordon because of the censors Anything about American life or allusions to Gordon's service would make the Allies vulnerable. But Gordon returned, and they married in July 1947, and they had 3 daughters. Marjorie Lou, whom I'm privileged to call my other mom, is the widow of John Lou. They were sweethearts since the 8th grade. John's father taught him to fly when he was still in grade school at the airfield out at 87th and Harlem, where they kept a plane. Just a little side note, my mother told me shortly before she died, that when she was 12, she used to take the streetcar out to 87th and Harlem and pay a pilot a quarter to take her up in the airplane. She said, "Your grandmother would kill me if she knew that." So when John entered the U.S. Army Air Corps, they stationed him in Missouri from 1941 through 1945, where he was a captain, and he taught instrument control to pilots being sent overseas. Marjorie and John were married before he enlisted, and they had 4 children. Mary Lou Ramsland Sordell is the widow of Henry Sordell, Jr., who served in the Navy. And Kay Sordell is here today, and she lent me this very great photograph of her dad, both as a football player and as a petty officer, 2nd class in the Navy. Henry got a football scholarship from RB to attend Luther College, and he met Mary Lou there. But they didn't date, but she must have made a really lasting impression on him, because without letter writing or anything, after 3.5 years in the service, he came back and looked her up, and they were married, and they had 3 children, if I'm correct, 3 children. 2 children, thank you, Kay, sorry. And he was stationed in Vero Beach, Florida, where he did aviation metalsmith. Edith Waugh, who I believe is the only widow we have with us today, and she's in the first row, is the widow of Henry Waugh. He joined the Army after Pearl Harbor and was stationed in Burma for his service. They were married after he returned. She is the one widow that didn't know him before he was in the Army. And they had 2 girls and a boy. Her son died from Parkinson's disease about 5 years ago. Edith has been a lifelong member of this church right here. Vicki Michaels is the widow of Corporal James, or Jimmy, Michaels. He served as a U.S. Marine from 1943 to 1945 in the Pacific Arena. Jimmy was part of the combat patrol that climbed Mount Suribachi and raised the first American flag during the Battle of Iwo Jima. And I'm sure you've seen this iconic photograph. You can find it actually on Wikipedia. Jimmy is the soldier with the carbine right in the front. And I was struck by how young and handsome he was, as they all were, our young and handsome soldiers. Like all of our, Jimmy and Vicki were faithful letter writers, and she kept every letter that they exchanged. They married in 1947, and they had 4 daughters. In addition to the iconic photo of the flag raising, Jimmy's uniform is part of the Marine Museum at Quantico. And today, at Queen of Heaven Cemetery, they are laying a new headstone for Jimmy, and he is being honored there, which is why his family is not here with us. He also earned a Purple Heart for his service. Speaking of medals, there should be some type of medal for these ladies and the thousands like them who supported the soldiers through letters, care packages, and prayers, lots of prayers, and reminded their loved ones in service of the home and hearth for which they fought. As I quoted from the poster at the beginning, "Women in the war, we can't win without them." Ladies, I salute you.
Thank you, Ellen. Each year we search Riverside for World War II veterans who are now in their 80s, 90s, perhaps even hundreds, and we weren't successful in finding World War II soldiers beyond the honored soldiers we have recognized in previous years, Don Farnham and Jimmy Michaels. But today, 3 World War II soldiers came into the church. And I'd like, first of all, Joe Zick, 85 years old, if he would stand up, if you would maybe help him. 89 years, excuse me. He was in the United States Army and fought in Germany, helped liberate a lot of the Jewish prisoners from concentration camp. Second is Ed Mexto, right here. Ed, if you'd stand up next to Ellen. Ed was in the Marines, Major, fought in the South Pacific, and he also came home and was a Riverside Village president for 12 years. Third is Jerry Radis, World War II soldier. He is over here. If he would stand up, he's 97 years old. He's a lieutenant colonel in the Army, fought in the Pacific Theater, and also was awarded 3 Purple Hearts. Next, we would like to recognize the 70th anniversary for the end of World War II. Victory in Europe was acquired when the Nazis surrendered on May 8th, 1945. VJ Day, Victory in Japan, was acquired when Japan surrendered on August 14th, 1945. And we're going to go through a special presentation here in a second, but I would like to invite the past Riverside Village presidents to come up first during this process. Ed Mexto. Ed, come up here, maybe Ellen can help. Right there, that's what he was thinking. Men can come over. We have Joe DiNatale. Joe right here. Jack Wyadock. Michael Gorman, is he here today? Paul Stack, and our current village president, Ben Sells. He's in right there. Also, during this presentation, I'd like these soldiers to come forward. Joseph Troiani, Commander, United States Navy. Is John Scully here? Army General. Greg Saganich, Staff Sergeant, United States Army and United States Air Force, both a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. And our American Legion Commander, Frank Gressick, Command Sergeant Major, United States Army, veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. And our presentation before this gentleman speaks, I have a few facts to go through, but I'd like to have United States Marine Donald Farnham come forward. Just wait right here for a second. Okay, want to hang on to something? Go ahead. A few history facts about World War II. This is also the 70th anniversary for the raising of the iconic flag at Mount Suribachi, Iwo Jima, and Don Farnham was there. Also Jimmy Michaels, as Ellen explained in the photograph. He was the guard protecting all of the Marines at the top of the mountain. The beginning of the battle had 70,000 United States Marines begin the attack on February 18th, 1945. 6 days later, on February 23rd, the Marines took complete control of Mount Suribachi, and the historic photograph, the first one, was taken by Lou Lowry, and that was obviously raised by 11 Marines that you see in the picture that Ellen had. The second picture was taken by Joe Rosenthal at the orders from an officer who wanted a larger flag, and the smaller flag was taken down while the larger flag went up, but both flags were there at the top of Mount Suribachi. Mount Suribachi was where the Japanese were entrenched and shooting downhill towards all of our Marines during those 6 days. The following 30 days of continuous battle, because that was just one phase of the Iwo Jima battle, the Marines had to secure the entire island, which therefore would give the United States control of the airfield, which then would help towards conquering the last part of the World War II battle in the Pacific. So during the next 30 days of battle, the 11 men who raised the first flag, 6 of those men were killed in action during the next 30 days. The 6 men who raised the second larger flag, 3 of those men were killed during the next 30 days. The entire island of Iwo Jima was conquered on March 16, 1945, at the cost of 7,100 U.S. Marines' lives. 20,200 Marines were wounded. After World War II ended, Iwo Jima had the most recipients of the honor of the Medal of Honor. 27 Marines were awarded the Medal of Honor for extraordinary bravery. The gentleman next to me, Donald Farnham, joined the Marines at age 17, correct? He was the youngest of 5 brothers. His 4 older brothers were already in the military. So he joined the Marines at age 17, celebrated his 18th birthday on Guam, celebrated his 19th birthday on Guam, and was in the thick of the battle at Iwo Jima at age 19. And fortunately for us, he was able to make it home.
Thank you very much. I was back in March to Iwo Jima for that reunion of honor in which we commemorated the 70th anniversary of that horrific battle. And when I was there, I raised this flag on Suribachi, and I'd like to give it to the village of Riverside because it's a very special flag, and so are all of you. Thank you.
Don Farnham is on his way to the cemetery, not too far from here, for a special presentation by the United States Marines, a new marker honoring Jimmy Michaels and his presence at the first flag raising at Iwo Jima. So he and his daughter are leaving now to be at that program, which I think starts at 12 noon, so they should make it. Now I would like to invite the Riverside Brookfield High School Choir and their director, Diane, to come forward.
Before we sing the national anthem, we are going to present a medley of armed forces anthems. So we'll ask you at the end to stand for the national anthem. Thank you.
The United States
Thank you, RB choir members. At this time, I would like to invite the Riverside Girl Scouts to come forward with a flower presentation.
Right over here by the other flower.
And these young ladies are presenting flowers to all of the Riverside killed in action, plus another World War II soldier from Riverside who fought in Iwo Jima, Joseph Moravec. At this time, I would like to invite Ben Sills, our village president, to come forward.
Thank you, Tom. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank the American Legion Post 488 and the Covenant Churches for making today possible. My honored former presidents, Trustee Hamilton for her lovely invocation, our dedicated wives and veterans who are here today. Your presence gives a focus and a heartfelt reality to our remembrance. As President Lincoln told us a few minutes ago, our nation's great experiment is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Our goal is to ensure equality for all, to defend those who are unable to defend themselves, to safeguard liberty, and to guarantee freedom even for those, indeed especially for those, with whom we disagree. But what does it take to make those ideals a reality? The men and women we honor today have shown us the cost of our ideals by giving the last full measure of devotion to advance their cause. In so doing, they have made the world a better place. And they have also given us an exceptional opportunity. Through their sacrifice, we have been given the possibility to dedicate ourselves to their unfinished work. It is common to think of sacrifice in terms of loss or as giving something up. But the word itself means to make sacred. Through sacrifice, we connect the everyday to the eternal, the mundane to the divine. We rightly mourn those whom we have lost and the sacrifices they have made. But let us also embrace the gift that they have given us, the chance to carry forward with increased devotion the call of liberty. We gather today, thankfully under this beautiful church, out of the rain, thank you, to remember the fallen. We are surrounded by our friends and our family, and we are serene in our contemplation. But a great task remains before us. Through the sacrifice of the fallen, we have been allowed to take up the mantle of freedom. Through them, we have been shown the way. Their work is done, but ours remains. Let us resolve to fulfill their mission by dedicating our everyday acts to their eternal sacrifice. May God bless the fallen, bring solace to their families and friends, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
In recognition of the 40th anniversary of the end of Vietnam War, we are going to have Joe Dudzek, a Vietnam Air Force veteran, with some music with his guitar.
came back from the war, but it still haunts him today. He's still got the sand in his boots, and he's wrestling with the demons and the cold hard truth. Something just ain't right about him. He can't find no peace within. Something in his eyes said it's seen too much. Something in his heart says he's had enough. Heroes, everybody needs heroes. Sometimes heroes need a little help. Heroes can't always be heroes. So who's gonna save the hero from himself? He's looking at some pictures from Baghdad of him and his buddies getting ready. They've got their stuff together for the next day, and they're hoping it'll be a good one. One by one, he watched them die. Just brave kids, and he can't figure why. He's the only one who made it out alive. In his head, 10,000 clicks away, he chokes on the smoke, sees the dead where they lay. The meds don't give him no peace today, so he looks at a silver star and a pistol in his drawer. Heroes, everybody needs heroes. Sometimes heroes need our help. Heroes can't always be heroes. So who's gonna save the hero from himself? Thank you. Thank you very much. Hope this next one lifts you up real good. It always works for me. In the hearts of the young and old resides the gift of liberty, given by the strong and bold when they guard the land of the free. Through the years their strength and skill has kept our great land secure. They gave their lives, they gave their all, they answered freedom's call. Let the flame of liberty burn within. May our hearts beat red, white, and blue. Let freedom ring forevermore, a beacon proudly shining through. The toll to keep our nation free, because they gave so selflessly. This is still the land of the free. When I see the stars and stripes unfurled and the torch of Lady Liberty, I am proud of America and those who keep her safe for me. And never forget the soldiers, one and all, who bravely heard their nation's call and kept within their it's a noble goal. Peace on earth for all. Peace on earth for all. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a real honor to be here.
Thank you, Specialist Joe Dudzak, veteran of Vietnam. I'd now like to welcome Riverside American Legion Commander Frank Gressick, United States Army.
Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for your attendance, and it's really important that we remember the veterans that sacrificed so much so we can have so much. Thank you very much.
As we now proceed into the honor roll call of the 54 Riverside young men who were killed in action, World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, I would like to ask Eric Hartwig to come forward. Eric is a Life Scout in the Boy Scouts, and he's going to be the young man who will ring the Navy brass bell after each page of names is completed. And I would like to first invite Pastor Dennis Lauritsen, St. Peter and Paul Lutheran Church, to come forward.
These are the soldiers who were killed in action from Riverside in service to the United States of America, protecting our national and personal freedoms. In World War I, Albert Edward Moore, James P. Quinn, Reverend Hedley Heber Cooper. In World War II, Donald Arthur Abel, Richard K. Babbitt, Bruce O. Bigger, Otto C. Bleckschmidt, George D. Bohati, Dave C. Bowman, Paul Brennan.
Father Chris from St. Mary's Parish.
World War II, Curtis Buran, Mark W. Castle, James F. Ekman, Trevor A. Edward, Robert W. Eggleston, Robert H. Fenley, James H. Green, Arno M. Hess, James H. Hosgood, John J. Javanek.
Pastor Doug Asbury, Presbyterian Church.
Continuing the lists from World War II, Richard Jicka, Bert T. Kruger, Francis J. Lestina, Robert A. Lizotte, Donald C. Lundgren, Homer C. McDowell, Robert H. McFarlane, Frank J. Mansell, Harry P. Martini, and Thomas McHugh.
Pastor Raymond Austin, Methodist Church.
Continuing the list from World War II, Jerry G. Mikan, Harold C. Miller, William Munson, William Oldacre Jr., Keith A. Otzinger, Francis P. Parker, George S. Proxa, Richard Rogers, John Ruckus, John N.D. Smith.
Pastor Emily Rosencrans, Presbyterian Church.
Also World War II, Edward Spreetsma, Jack I. Thatcher, Graham Trevor, Elmer Ulick, John T. Warner, Merle T. Wolfe, Thomas R. Schluter.
And Father Thomas May, St. Mary Parish.
From the Korean War, James J. Anderley, Jr., David M. Barrett, Edward V. Loddick, William Leonard, Edward Clark Sachs. From the Vietnam War, John W. Bezekny, Donald Pratt.
At this time, I'd like to invite Kay Sordell to come forward. Our Navy wreath ceremony usually takes place at Guthrie Park. The wreath is then placed in the Des Plaines River to honor all of Riverside's killed in action, plus all of America's killed in action, missing in action, of which there are still 73,000 soldiers missing from World War II, and all of our POW soldiers. Kay is the creator of this wreath. It's all biodegradable, so when it's placed in the river, it will wind its way down. Also, I'd like to invite Commander Joseph Troiani, United States Navy, to come forward. And Command Sergeant Greg Saganich to come forward. And Frank Gressick to come forward. In the program indoors today, we are going to carry the wreath down the center aisle. When it reaches the outdoor stairway, you will hear the 21-gun rifle salute. And I'd like to invite, once again, another Life Scout from Troop 24, Killian Klotz, to come forward. Killian, you can come up right in front of Kay there. And Kay, if you would present the wreath to the soldiers, and then they will hand it to Killian. So soldiers first. They can each hand the wreath to one another. And then Killian can give a salute to Commander Gressick. Killian will carry the wreath first down the aisle, followed by our soldiers and Kay Sordell. If everyone would please stand. Dovas will lead us in taps. Our benediction will be by Pastor Raymond Austin, Riverside United Methodist Church.
Our benediction. And now, O God, as we part one from another to go our separate ways, we pause to worship in memory of those servicemen and women who have answered the final call and have been received by you. We are thankful for their lives. The remembrance of them is an inspiration to us. They teach us to dedicate ourselves to the things for which they fought and died. And we pray also for our nation. Continue to watch over its affairs. Grant us wisdom in the spirit of being peacemakers to all those in positions of authority. And may all the citizens of our country learn to desire justice, to love righteousness, and to seek peace. Strengthen also, dear Lord, the bonds of peace between all nations and all peoples. Thanking you as we leave this place, but never your presence. It is in your holy name that we pray. Amen.
You may be seated. Dovas and Spencer Williams are going to play the 5 military hymns. Following their playing, then the high school band will have some postlude music for us. Everybody is welcome to join in the dining room for some refreshments after today's program. And we once again thank all of you for being here today. Thank you, Dovas and Spencer. Dovas is studying music in New York School of Music, and Spencer is studying music at Riverside Brookville High School. We would now like to conclude the program with our exit parade of the colors, the fire department, and the scouts. If everyone please stand.
Present arms. Retrieve the colors. Order arms. Mount face. Forward march. Left, 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 right, left, 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 right, left. Left, 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 right, left, 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 right, left. I got it. Hold. Dismiss.
The Riverside High School Band will lead us out in some music. Thank you once again for attending today.